Welcome. I'm glad that you've joined me today. Every experience begins with a thought, and our experience changes when we change that thought. In this series, we will focus on the thoughts and emotions relating to special meridian points located along the sides of the spine corresponding to the vertebrae. They are called Huatuojiaji points. Each point connects to specific areas of your body and nervous system. We will be working on opening the Huatuojiaji points along the spine to increase chi flow and activation of the nervous system, so your body has access to the life force and information it needs to heal itself. I will help you to do this through Qigong healing and the use of forgiveness and affirmations. We will be focusing on L1 or lumbar 1, and it is related to hormone issues and balance as well as digestion. And we find that most women who have PMS or some issue related to that will have a big knot in the L1 area, and this blockage can cause women's hormones to be out of balance. And it can also be true for men. L1 is also associated with childhood developmental problems. Nerve pain in that area, especially when it shoots down to the big toe, can be stopped when the L1 area is unblocked. And it is related to the male and female areas. When it is blocked, it can also inhibit the flow of the sacral chakra and our connection to our unique and individual self. So by clearing the stagnant energy in each point and infusing it with life force energy, your body will have what it needs to correct and harmonize any dysfunction that has accumulated over the years. Life happens, whether we choose it or not, and it can have a great impact on how we live our lives or view our lives. We will identify areas where energy is inflamed, stuck, stagnant, and refusing to flow because of old beliefs, dependence, controlling experiences, shame, humiliations, fears, stories, people, lifestyles, attitudes, and demands. We will focus on beliefs that your mind is ready to embrace or release, where it is ready for change, progress, and transformation. So embrace these thoughts. Feel them deep within your body, your mind, and your soul, and allow them to penetrate deep into your heart. Because you are absolutely worthy of every virtue, and you are worthy of every life-giving belief. As you hear these statements and let them into your heart, they will transform you gently, profoundly, and bring greater and higher good in your life. So let's take a deep breath and we will start. Place your hand on your chest, touching the two fear points just below your collarbone with your thumb and index finger. The spots may be tender. Hold your hand here and you can massage these points if they are tender. You can also hold your hands in prayer position at your heart space. This is particularly effective if you're holding rare earth magnets with the south pole facing your right hand, or you may use a piece of quartz crystal or jade or selenite or another gemstone of your choosing. Imagine looking into a mirror and looking into your eyes reflected back to you and talking directly into your soul. In this moment, speak this maxim to yourself with the care and compassion that you would give to the most apprehensive of beings. So repeat after me. Take kindness and benevolence as basis. Take frankness and friendliness to heart. Speak with reason. Treat with courtesy. Act with emotion and accomplish results. Now let's say it again one more time, and this time we'll speak into the lumbar 1 vertebrae, increasing the life force with honest kindness and respect for its importance and place and function. Take kindness and benevolence as basis. Take frankness and friendliness to heart. speak with reason, treat with courtesy, act with emotion, and accomplish results. We will breathe after each statement, consciously creating new pathways of response and allowing the energy to freely and lovingly flow. So carefully listen to each statement and try to repeat after me in your mind, but it's okay to just follow along and listen. I give myself permission to bring up and address the unconscious beliefs that have kept me stuck in patterns of response that bring harm to myself and others. And breathe. I give myself permission to forgive the people and institutions that have influenced my beliefs when they have encouraged distorted ideas, even when they believed it was good. And breathe. I give those in my life experience so far who intentionally or unintentionally caused me harm because of their own broken and distorted interpretations of life. Breathe. I forgive myself for my incorrect interpretation of the love and care offered to me by those who truly wanted to show love. And breathe. I ask others to forgive me when I have hurt or caused harm because of my mistaken interpretation of reality. And breathe. I forgive myself for any resistance I have toward embracing all that is good, lovely, and precious. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing that miraculous transformation, healing, change, and opportunities only happen after long toiling effort, self-degradation, or that they don't happen for me. And breathe. I embrace all opportunities, gifts, and love that flow to me without hesitation or skepticism, but with thankfulness and gratitudes. And breathe. I give myself permission to surrender and allow for the highest and greatest good to come to me, transform me, and remake me. And breathe. I forgive myself for distorting my alignment with myself, with the great Creator, and with great nature because I do not know my true self. And breathe. I give myself permission to accept my true self and clear the blockages that keep me distorted in my physical health, my emotional health, my social health, and my spiritual health. And breathe. I give myself permission to take responsibility for whatever comes into my presence with gratitude and calmness. And breathe. I forgive myself for knowingly or unknowingly creating the emotional and physical patterns that block my flow and connection to myself, heaven, earth, or humanity. And breathe. I give myself permission to grow and evolve by giving up the stories of the past so that the universe can write new ones. And breathe. I love and accept myself now as I begin to understand and accept the corrections to any false programming and beliefs I might have received. And breathe. I love and accept myself as I align myself to think and feel in the way the universe thinks and feels, accepting the miracles that flow through me, around me, above me, and below me. And breathe. I love and accept that the universe is highly flexible, and I can be too, Because when I am flexible, which is in harmony with the universe, I am open to the infinite possibilities, and then possibilities appear. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing that no one supports me and I am alone. And breathe. I forgive myself for my need to be lonely, to prove my lack of love and support. And breathe. I forgive myself for feeling a need to cry out for more love. And breathe. I forgive myself even when I feel lonely and insecure. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing that I cannot trust my feelings or myself. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing that I have to deny and reject my feelings. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing that my body is a curse. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing that I'm not allowed to celebrate who I am. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing that I have to be perfect before I can feel peace within myself. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing that my ideas have to be perfect before I can act on them and make them happen. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing that I must hold on to old pains and traumas, hoping that someone will see them and save me. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing that I am a loser. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing that I have lost in the game of life. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing that life is a game or a battle that can be won or lost. And breathe. I forgive myself for using anger to prove that I am a winner. And breathe. I forgive myself for being angry with myself when I don't live up to my distorted expectations of life. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing I am a victim when I am overpowered by others or my hopes are crushed. And breathe. I forgive myself for showing no mercy to my own weakness. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing that weakness is a sign of failure. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing that I need to be supported because I can't do it myself. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing that life must have burdens and struggles to be worth anything. And breathe. I forgive myself for being jealous of the easy life of others. And breathe. I forgive myself for selling myself short. And breathe. I forgive myself for denying my beautiful and unique sexuality. And breathe. I forgive myself for hating my body. And breathe. I forgive myself for feeling indifferent and separated from the masculine within me and also the feminine within me. And breathe. I forgive myself for feeling guilty and seeking punishment just for being me. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing I am just not acceptable as myself. And breathe. I forgive myself for being afraid I will not have enough money for my needs. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing that I lack financial support and I am helpless to change that. And breathe. I forgive myself for staying in a relationship that hurts or not resolving the issues that would relieve the pain. And breathe. I forgive myself for running away from a situation instead of being accountable for it. Breathe. I forgive myself for wanting to back out of something, but instead just live with the pain of poor choices. And breathe. I forgive myself for being angry with what is happening in my life, but not working towards making it different. And breathe. I forgive myself for all the ruptured relationships that I was complicit in. And breathe. I forgive myself for putting all my creative energy into creating strain, burdens, and struggle. And breathe. I forgive myself for bottling up and preserving hate. And breathe. I forgive myself for not being open and truthful with myself or others. And breathe. I forgive myself for being afraid to let go of the past and reclaiming it as the present. And breathe. I forgive myself for blocking what I want to say. And breathe. I forgive myself for being stingy and holding on to dead and decaying beliefs, trying to create something sweet and fresh with them. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing that if I allow life to flow through me, I may lose something valuable forever. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing that if I am in the flow of life, I will lose control and be helpless to do anything about it. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing that I would rather be in control and constipated in life than free-flowing and get hurt. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing not expressing my true feelings and then hiding them. Breathe. I forgive myself for believing that I can run away and hide from that which I do not want to accept. And breathe. I forgive myself for being afraid that if my expectations are not met, they never will be. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing I can never get what I most desire. And breathe. I forgive myself for being so afraid of what may happen in the future that I can't assimilate what is actually happening in my life right now. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing that I cannot be at peace until everything is in order the way I perceive it should be. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing that the way I perceive things is the only and best way to have peace. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing if I don't have peace, it is because someone else did not meet my expectations. And breathe. I forgive myself for holding on to that which is done and over. And breathe. I give myself permission to call up and transform, transmute, release, and remove all rejection of wisdom, crying out for love, refusal to know or understand, indecision, need for loneliness, resentment and blame, insecurity, misalignment with life, and denial of my spiritual self for the highest and greatest good of myself and others. And breathe. I now give myself permission to unblock both sides of the Huatuojiaji points of L1, opening and activating the flow of chi and information through L1, communicating freely with all parts of my body, mind, and spirit, and raising the quality of my thoughts. And breathe. I give myself permission to see the past, present, and future clearly and honestly. And breathe. I give myself permission to take responsibility for every aspect of creating the life that supports me and that I love. And breathe. I give myself permission to gain wisdom through joyfully accepting the experiences of life in all their diversity. And breathe. I give myself permission to release all that keeps me from seeing and hearing the truth. And breathe. Without crying out for love, insecurity, and a need to be lonely, I am free to align my life with my spiritual self and all of the energies of the universe. When I am aligned with truth and love, I am free. And breathe. I am free to feel safe in the universe, and all of life's loves come to me and support me. And breathe. I am free to trust my feelings and myself. And breathe. I am free to experience emotional balance and be comfortable in my body and to embrace and celebrate myself. And breathe. I am free to feel peace within myself. And breathe. I am free to allow my creativity to freely flow. And breathe. I am free to let go of the past and not have it trigger me. And breathe. I am free to love and approve of myself. And breathe. I am free to feel safe and to care for myself, lovingly care and balance my mind and my body and my emotions. And breathe. I am free to choose all the thoughts that make me feel good. And breathe. I am free to embrace my true and honest self. And breathe. I am free to be harmonious with myself and the world around me. And breathe. I am free to feel safe being who I am. And breathe. I am free to trust the process of life, and all my needs will always be taken care of. And breathe. I am free to experience my mind as gentle and harmonious. And breathe. I am free to easily release that which I no longer need. And breathe. I am free to believe the past is over and I am free. And breathe. I am free to receive the new, the fresh, and the vital, and to participate in the flow of life. And breathe. I am free to call the shots in my life when it is appropriate and let the rest just take care of itself. And breathe. I am free to expand in every direction and to effect changes all around me and within me. And breathe. I am free to be courageous and at peace with life. And breathe. I am now free to participate in the perfect divine rhythm and flow of life. And breathe. I am free to have the power, strength, and knowledge to handle everything in my life, perfectly aligned and supported in all things. And with the power of my divine consciousness, I now create connection and harmony with all things in myself and in my world in a way that inspires kindness, friendliness, honesty, and goodwill, flowing genuine love and sincere compassion to all that is in my range of influence, and freely offering connection from the brightest place of my heart. Take a long, deep breath and release all that does not align with truth. You are now creating new alignments, stronger and more powerful beliefs, letting go of the stories of the past and creating new supportive and harmonious ones that will manifest peace, happiness, and calm that is divinely gifted to you at all times. May I leave this prayer with you today. May I have the courage today to live the life that I would love, to postpone my dream no longer, but to do at last what I came here for, and waste my heart on fear no more. May you smile and embrace the courage to make a positive difference in your world starting today. Godspeed.